This is a tricky topic. We're talking about navigating prenups, and so you don't have to ruin your relationship. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest, like prenups are not the most natural thing, but in a world, we just have to look at the reality. In a world where everything is moving very fast, people are constantly distracted. We're hopping from one relationship to the next. When you've taken the time to build your own empire, you've built this thing that you want to protect, you've built this well. Most of the time, you're super scared to just go, here, have carte blanche to everything I've built. A person that I hope doesn't leave me, even though the statistics say that divorce is continuously on the rise, right? So how do you do this without ruining the relationship? I think you need to look at the heart behind it. So this applies to men, this applies to women as well. You know, I always think of the story of the celebrities. It was Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson, and I think he made her sign a prenup, but then she ended up becoming far wealthier than him. And so it would have benefited him not to have that prenup. But the reality is you are trying to protect your assets, right? And the other person, you know, for a person who's a gold digger, you know why they're there. And my question to you is if you're with someone and you don't trust them, you should not be getting married to them. Like, the idea that you need a prenup with them should be a red flag to you that this person might not be right to you. You might be getting into a relationship out of just comfort because you know this person's gonna be there. But if you feel very forceful that you need a prenup with them, most of the time you don't trust this person. And so you're settling, you're compromising. And even if there is a prenup doesn't protect you from the failure that you will feel when that relationship fails. No one talks about this. We talk about protecting assets, but what we don't talk about is that agreement doesn't necessarily protect your heart, your ego, your mental well-being, because when we go through a divorce, at the end of the day, we feel like failures. We feel like we can't trust love. We can't trust people. There's this whole other spectrum of problems that come that a contract cannot resolve. And so before I even tell you about the whole prenup aspect, like, the reality is, are you getting into a relationship with someone that you really, at the heart of hearts, have no business marrying or even proposing to, and really even being in a relationship with? The reality is you need to switch gears, and instead of just being with someone out of comfort who will cause you pain in the long run, and you think that when you get there, pay attention to this, you think that when you get there, you'll be able to mitigate the damage, but it doesn't work that way. Your heart, that sense of failure, your ego that you will need to continue to support yourself, to make your income, your confidence, for lack of better terms, all of those things will suffer a major blow. And trust me, I've worked with plenty of people who have been divorced, and most of the time they live a life that's on edge. They're in fear, and they never really are able to connect again because that sense of distrust never goes away. And so you have to ask yourself, do I want to live my life like that? Do I want to be that kind of like scared wild animal that's scared to actually connect with people because of so much distrust that you carry? And it's like, instead of making a bigger mess out of your life in the relationship with the person that you don't trust, and develop the skill sets so that you can actually trust people, and you can actually position yourself to attract more quality people who don't just want to take from you, but who actually want to be with you. But chances are, if you don't have those skills to allow people to be with you for the real you, you don't even know how to show them those parts, or for some reason, you keep getting people who don't accept you for the real you, they just want the lifestyle that you provide, then the reality is you don't know how to connect with people, and you're not opening the door for the right people to come in. You have this comfort zone of allowing the wrong people to come in, which continues to create failure in your life when it comes to relationships. Here's the reality. You can change that. there is a solution for everything. I want you to hear that again. Just like in business, there's a solution for everything. For every problem, you have to find a solution. It's the same thing for relationships. The reality is you just haven't found the right solution, which if you're here, then you have found it, because I have my coaching, I have my skill sets that will be able to equip you to transition into that person who can still be super successful, but also be in a position to allow people to come in, and you can see through the people who are not trustworthy and the people who actually have your best interests in heart and who actually want the real you. But you need the support so that the real you can show up in those relationships. But when you continue to live out a facade and you continue to attract people who just want you for what you have to offer, then that's all you'll continue to get until you realize you were the vessel of change. You are the person that gets to turn this around in your life, not hoping that you meet the right person. That puts you in such a powerless position. But the reality is you'll never meet that person, because how you show up today, that right person would never be attracted to you, because maybe you're too hard. Maybe you're too emotionally shut down. A person who has an open heart, who loves people for the real them, is never going to feel safe with you. You're actually going to make them feel completely unsafe. And so you have to be the facilitator of change. And it's not as difficult as you think. It's difficult when you don't know how. And if that's you, you should definitely talk to me about coaching.